Hello everyone and welcome to Ukulele Underground University Ukulele 102. It is the course review. So we have Ukulele 102 all wrapped up. We went through all 10 weeks. Actually, this is going to be the 12th week of Ukulele 102 because we did 5 weeks and then we did a halfway point where we did a halfway review. And we did 5 more weeks and this is the last week. It is going to be the course review. So we're going to take a look at everything as a whole. We're going to take a look at all our goals and we're also going to be comparing them to what we went over on this course. And I want you guys to take a look at your own progress and kind of measure, what kind of progress that you made in these last 12 weeks. All right. And I just want to tell you guys that I'm very, very, very proud of you to be sticking with your ukulele on 102 all the way up to this point, because I tend to have it get harder and harder each time, and a lot of people just kind of go off the rails when I start talking about scales and whatnot. So if you made it this far, thank you so much and good job. All right, so just the fact that you made it this far, thank you and great job. So let's take a look at what we did for this course. So our first week, our mid-course goals was, the first one was to be able to understand how scales work and which notes sound good or bad in different keys. So let's go over this first one really quick. What we did for the first half of our course, we went over some techniques. Of course, we went over warm-ups, and we also went over some scales. We went over some major and minor scales and how they fit in music and how they fit in the ukulele. Honestly, when I was starting out, I didn't know like what scales were or how they fit. I just kind of played my ukulele and played whatever sounded good. But it was when I started to learn scales. I went to band. I played clarinet and saxophone. It's when I started to be a lot more exposed to scales, is when I realized how important it was to know scales if I wanted to do picking and any kind of notation things on the ukulele. And by notation, not necessarily writing down notes and stuff, but like say playing single notes and even double notes. And I can do that now because I learned how to use my scales to my advantage. Because I learned my major scales, my minor scales, and just those two very basic scales, I've taken that and I've kind of ran away with it. So what we did was I showed you folks major scales. So major scales is our formula was whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. So whatever scale that you want to figure out. For example, if I want to figure out an A scale, so my A string right here. So we have whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. And that's it. Just by knowing the the formula for whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half, you should be just fine. One other thing though is I would highly suggest you get familiar with your fretboard. And what that means is, notice how I said like, oh, let's do the A scale. And I just said A right there, open string A. If you're not too familiar with the notes of your scale, if I'm like, what is A string, 4th fret? What is that note? You should be able to say, oh, that's a C sharp. And this is a D, E, and then we have an F sharp, G sharp, A. All right. So it's not, you don't need to. You don't need to learn how to, or you don't need to be too familiar with your fretboard, but it is very beneficial. Okay, it helps out a lot knowing what notes you're playing on the ukulele. And why is that? It's because if you want to figure out a scale, it starts off with that note. So if I said, oh, I want to figure out an F sharp scale, right? So the only way I can get started figuring out an F sharp scale is to locate the F sharp. If I'm not too familiar with my fretboard, I'm not going to be able to locate the F sharp. Neither, nor am I going to be able to put together an F sharp scale, right? So I'm like, is this F sharp? Is this F sharp? Is this F sharp? No, this is it right here. And so from there, whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half, and then whatever it goes. Yeah, Aaron's looking at me. He's like, "Oh, what's going on?" All right. So, I didn't even introduce the players. I'm just like, I'm running on like pure adrenaline. I want to introduce the players in today's show. First off, we have Aaron, the voice Nakamura. He is the voice of reason here at Ukulele Underground, Ukulele 102. So if I need, you know, an extra set of ears or extra opinion, he's going to give it to me. So say what's up, Aaron.
What's up?
And also we have the slide master. Or the control master, I should say. He controls all the video angles, takes all your questions and whatnot, and relays them over to me. We have Kahai, the legend Fergan. Say what's up, Kahai.
What's up?
So the three of us have been with you throughout this entire journey, and we're still here. I guess we're so familiar now that I don't really have to like introduce all too much. But for those of you who like these dudes, and you know you want them to get that what's up right in the beginning.
There's people who are tuning in for the first time though.
I'm sure. Yeah, I guess so.
There's always like people in YouTube that I see.
That's true. So the three of us are here, and let's go over that. So like I said, be able to understand how scales work and which notes sound good and bad in different keys. All right. So if we were to now that we know how to play our scales, what does that mean? That means that if we're playing in the key of, you know, in that case, F sharp, if we're playing in the key of F sharp, if I play the F sharp scale, all those notes are going to sound good. If I play in the key of C, and I played a C scale, whole, half, whole, half. So you play a C chord for me, Aaron. So he's going to play C chord. And I'm going to play. Play any of these notes in any sequence that I want, and it will be correct in that. And I can even use those in different strings. Whole, half, whole, half. And notice if I don't play those, so this right here is not part of our scale. I'm going to land there. It just doesn't sound right, but if I play... you know, it just doesn't sound good. I mean, you can make it sound good, of course. You know, there's always advanced theory to make that sound good, but for now, you know, we're working with the basics. If you know, if you play a note that isn't in the scale, it's not necessarily going to sound that good. So that's how scales work in a nutshell. You know, it basically tells you what notes are good and bad in the scale. All right, or good or bad in a key, I should say, in a key. So if you're in the key of C, you play the C scale. If you're in the key of D, you play the D scale, so on and so forth. All right. Next, any questions on that?
So there's no question on the chat.
Yes.
Like now, but I saw like I think some people were having like a hard time putting together the idea of like chord families, keys, and scales.
Okay.
And I think they kind of had a hard time because they were wondering like, well, if you have, what do you start with first? Do you start with the scale? Do you start with the chords? And the key is overall. But
yeah. Like, okay. Let's try to come up with an analogy here. But before we do that, I just want to tell you the I guess the order that I would figure them out in. I would first and foremost figure out the scale. Okay, the scale, or the scale. Okay, figure out the C scale. Okay, so if we figure out the C scale, we have those notes: C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. All right. If we're using the C scale, that means we are in the key of C. But it's I've explained it before. It is kind of like a chicken and egg thing. All right. You can either go with the scale first or find out what the key is first. But you know, and if we're going strictly from like what I would do, like what I would figure out first, I would figure out the scale. All right. If I got nothing else, like just laying my groundwork, scale. All right. Next up is the key. And based on the scale, automatically gives us the key. All right. Now, chord family will tell us what chords we can play in that key based on the scale. And what does that mean? That means we have C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, those notes, right? And if we were to number them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Our formula for that is 1, 4, and 5 are going to be major chords, and 2, 3, and 6 are going to be minor chords. So 1, which is C, C major, 1, 2, 3, 4, which is F, and see how essential it is to kind of know your fretboard. When I started out, like I said, I didn't know, and I just kind of played by feel. But now that and there was nothing wrong with that. But now that I know, it makes it so much easier. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4. That's your F. So that's an F major. Remember, 1, 4, 5 are majors. So C and F. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that 5 is a G note. That means our G major. So we have C, F, and G. Okay, now 2, 3, and 6 are minors. So 1, 2, that's your D note. So we have D minor. So we have C, D minor, F, and G. Already when I play them, it sounds good together. Whatever order that I'm going to play them in is going to sound good. Okay? Next up is, let's see, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's your E notes, or your E string. You have E minor. So C, D minor, F, G, E minor. Whatever sequence that I want to do that in, it's going to sound good. Why? Because our key tells us the scale, and based on the scale, we can figure out the chord family. Now 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's your A note. So A minor, and that gives us all 6, without the diminished, all 6 of our chord family chords in C. So C, D minor, E minor, F, G, A minor. Okay, and if you want to get technical, last one is B, and that's going to be diminished. All right, and whatever sequence that you want to play it in is going to sound good. And why that is because they're all related to each other, and they're all coming from that scale. So that scale is your nice groundwork. Okay, and imagine your key is going to be the skeleton of that house, and so that's your groundwork. So the groundwork is the scale, the key is the not skeleton. Well, when you build a house, Aaron, you built a house before. Frame, the frame of the house, and the chords, or the chord family, is going to be I guess everything that goes on, build on top of the frame, like the lumber and whatever else. I've never built. I don't know why I went with that analogy. I've never built a house before. I like cooking. Let's see, cookies. All right, scales are your raw ingredients. I try to make it easier for people to understand.
Well, I mean, because
how would you explain it, Aaron?
It's kind of like the key will tell you everything, right?
Yeah.
If you know what the key is, you'll know what chords are good,
right,
and you'll know what notes are good. Mm-hmm. And so your scale is just the notes, and your chord family is just the chords.
Yeah.
And then they're all wrapped up in, if somebody says we're gonna be playing in the key of G, you automatically know what notes and what chords.
Yeah.
Based off
it's
of
going
that.
to be.
Yeah. So the key of G indicates what notes are good, which is the G scale.
Yeah.
And then it also indicates what chords are good, which is your chord family in the key of G.
Yes.
So I don't know. It's like
good answer. Good answer. How you don't want to clap for that good answer? That's a good answer. Some Family Feud. Yeah. So what he said. No, that's basically what it is. It'll the key will give you everything. I went with the scale first because I really, I wanted to show you folks how you can get, the chord family from there. But it is, like I said, chicken and egg. It doesn't matter which one will go first, but definitely chord family would be last. Like, you can figure out your chord family based on the key or the scale.
There is the question that there was on that, I think it was like the chord family video, or it was maybe not the chord family video, the major and minor scales. So they asked, like, how do you know what chords to play with, like, a minor key or a minor scale, though, right?
Yeah.
Because it's a little different from...
Yes and no. If we're talking relative minors, because you just figure out the relative minor and you play it in that.
Yeah, so you would need to know that information, right? Like,
but we're just kind of telling them, don't worry about the don't worry about the minor keys. The minor keys for now. I mean, I'm not saying that don't like ever learn them. You don't need to learn them and stuff. You do. But for right now, just to get the concept, don't focus too much on the minor keys. Focus on figuring out the scale, the key, and the chord families, majors.
Because so
you're just gonna be confusing yourself.
Yeah, and the idea of relative minor and majors is that there's a major and a minor that
shares the same key,
or shares the same notes and shares the same
not key,
chords, right? So like that's why if you like learn that, and I think the people were asking this because you do see that, right? Like you see like, oh, we're playing in G minor. And it's like, oh shoot, like I know the major, the major keys, but I don't know the minor. So the basic way to do that is just to
learn the relative major, which would be B flat. So in the key of G minor, although we're saying, oh, it's G minor, oh, I don't know what to do then. If you take the relative major, which would be a step and a half, which would be B flat, so you play in the B flat major scale.
Yeah. Do we have our...
I didn't want to go into that because it's just going to get more confusing.
Do we have our circle of fifths somewhere? Somewhere. But yeah, so you can use the circle of fifths
to figure out what major scale you're
if you look at the circle of fifths, the outer ring is your majors, and then right below your the major, it should be the relative minor. So on the inner ring,
it's like clearly labeled. This is a relative minor.
So that's like a really, I mean, zero music theory needed for just to look at the circle of fifths. So
I think another thing too that people they kind of wanted to know, or they're like kind of weren't sure how to do this, is like, how do you figure out the key in the first place? Because if there's like nobody to tell you, this is what key we're playing in, or this is, so like that's where like, oh, do I figure out what scale they're using, or do I figure out what chords they're using?
I would so if that's the if that's the case, I would take a look at the chords, because with the chord family, I was saying that 1, 4, 5 will be the majors, and I think I've stated this before in the course. There's no two scales or two chord families that share the same major chords. All right, so for C, we figured out C, F, and G, 1, 4, 5. That's going to be the majors. No other key will have C, F, and G major in it. It will always have some, like, maybe not totally different. Maybe one of those might be different, or maybe two, or maybe all three will be different. But it's never going to be C, F, and G. Okay, that's exclusive to the key of C. Just like G, C, D is exclusive to the key of G. Just like F, B flat, C is exclusive to the key of F. So once you kind of get those patterns down, then you can figure out what key it is from there. Because if we're playing a song, for example, Island Style, right? Everyone knows the song Island Style. Let's figure out what key that's in. If you didn't know what key was in, we can do that right now. So first off, you go C. On the roof, we do it Hawaiian style. Okay, so just from there, we have C, we have F, right? From the beach to the ocean, from the, let's see, classroom to the high school pool. I don't want to get sued. So we have C, F, and G. And like I said, that's only exclusive to the key of C. So by knowing that those are the major chords, it's like, hey, I've seen that combination of 3 major chords before. And then bam, it's the key of C. Yeah. So it still...
Even though the main melody starts
in
on
an F.
On an
yeah,
F.
on an F.
You might think that it's, oh, this is the key of F, but...
And you know, it is tricky because if we're in a key of F, the 3 major chords are F, B flat, and C. So that F and C is going to be a little bit confusing. So you need 3 of those. But you know, you can kind of do process of elimination. You'd be like, oh, maybe I'm in a key of F, and then I'll play the F scale. And if you hit this B flat right here, that's not in the key of C, right? So just play that B flat. When you play that and it doesn't sound good, that means you're not in the key of F. And if you play that and that does sound good, then you are in the key of F. So there's like different things that you can do to figure out what key you're in.
That song too, it uses G7, right? Like and like, so like people who you know, there might be people who are like, oh, what if they use extensions or what if they use...
Don't worry about the extensions, just take the bass chord. Which
like,
would be just that G,
If you're to play it against it, you can hear that, oh, this matches up. It's a little different, but it matches up for the most part.
Yeah, so don't worry about the extensions. Just get the bass chord. The bass chord, which would be G in that case, and then you add the 7. So G, G7. But it's still major. Yes, G major, and then
I think it's a
7, G7 chord.
I think it's like I'll do this sometimes, but I think it's harder to figure out like the scale or what, you know, by picking, because you kind of have to like line up the notes too.
Right.
And so that, like with chords, usually the chords play for like at least a little bit longer. So you don't
yeah. But here's the trick. Here's the tricky part though, because he goes C to C7 to get to the F. So if I'm trying to figure it out and I hit that B flat when they're hitting that C7, it's pretty tricky. That's why I'm just like, I would most rely on the chords, because the chords, you know, because there's no 3 chords, major chords or even minor chords, you know, that share the same key. I would go with that. I used to, you know, I would do that just to if I don't have 3 majors, I'm like, oh, I guess I'm gonna have to resort to playing the scale on top of it. But if I can get 3 major chords, I can pick it up from there.
And most songs have at least like, you'll have at least a couple major chords and then some minor chords that will help you too, right? Right. Like, oh, if that's a minor, if you know, if B is a minor chord, then, or if I guess with C major, the key of C major, there's no B, right?
Yeah. And so you guys are probably thinking that like, oh, how, you know, like, yeah, it's easy for you to say because, you know, you've been playing music for a long time. You can just figure things out like how you just snapped just now. But honestly, if it's 3 notes, right? Okay, so if you have C, F, and G, just by, you know, saying process of elimination, you can either do, you know, you can either start out with F. So for example, F, and majors are what? 1, 4, 5, right? So 1, so that would be my F. The other one from there to F to G is 2. So 1 and 2, that can be the key of F, right? So if I'm in the key of G, you know, if I have an F major, I don't even have an F, you know, notes on my G scale, so it can't be the key of G. So that means it's a key of C. So it's not just because, you know, I've played like a long time and I've got all this knowledge down. It really is. It takes a second, and I am gonna say that I can do it quicker, but it doesn't take that long, like, to figure out when you just kind of think of it that way. From F to G, and just the alphabet is right next to each other, right? You're not going to be, you're not going to be doing that. So that's a little trick there for, you know, that I want to hand off to you guys. Figure out the 2 notes or 2 major chords closest to each other, and that's going to be your 4 and 5.
So like, another example is with the F the F major is B flat and
B
C.
flat and C. Exact.
So like,
that's going to be your chord 5. What's the key? Bam, F.
I think people get scared too because it sounds confusing.
Yeah, it does. But I think, the more you do it, the better it gets. So here, I'll give you guys a pop quiz. All right. So if I have the major chords, B, A, and E. Oh, that's kind of easy, right? So it would be in the key of E. All right, because A and B pretty close together. The only odd one out is the E chord. So that's why, like, you guys are probably wondering, how did he figure that out so fast? It's just, if the theory is correct, it makes sense, right? 1, 4, 5. 4, 5 are always going to be close to each other. That means that 1 is going to be separate from the not separate, but far away from the other 2. So very, very, very simple way of figuring out the key.
Yeah. Using if you have chords. 3 major chords.
Yeah.
Like most songs, you won't see like a B major, a C major, and a D major like right next to each other.
Yeah.
Like,
no,
that's a weird song.
Let's do another one. Let's do.
But even if they just contain those chords, right?
If it contains those chords, then it's gonna be that. B flat, F, E flat. Ooh. What key would that be in, Kahai?
B flat.
Ooh, good answer. Good answer. Yes, B flat, because F and E flat, that was kind of my trick there, the E flat. F and E flat, just one away from each other. I wanted to throw the E flat curveball. But yeah, very, very simple to, if you consider it that way.
And even just for like, if that's getting you confused, just like take out the flats, right? And
E
and F.
E and
those
F,
are,
exactly.
If you know your alphabets,
E, F, yeah.
Those are right next to each other. So, yeah.
Quick way, okay? Take that to the bank. Next up, harmonized notes on the ukulele. So we learned that as well. So we learned the scale, and we just learned to take the 3rd or the 5th, and to create a harmony. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 1. Then 1, 2, 3. So if we took 1 and 1, 3, they will harmonize together, and it can move up and down the scale. So if this goes up, this also goes up. So this goes up. So from here, this also goes up. Now let's show it one more time. So C, 1, then 1, 2, 3. Those 2 notes are harmonized. All right. Now, if from C I move up to the next notes, my pointer finger is going to go to the E string 1st fret. Now, why go to the 1st fret? Because that's the next note in the scale, not the 2nd fret. Next note in the scale, 1st fret. Next note in the scale, E, and next note from here is G. So I have, and I can just do that all the way up. Okay. So you can do that with the 5th as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's that's the same thing. Oh, oh, there. I'm like, what am I playing? Why am I playing C sharp? There it is. So if you want to figure it out, 1s and 3s and 1s and 5s should be all good. Why? Because 1, 3, 5s create your chord. Okay, and it's just based on that theory. Next up, be able to create a song by putting chords from the chord family and the scale notes together. So what we did was we created a nice simple song. So because we know what keys are, because we know what scales are, because we know what chord families are, we took all that knowledge and took chords. Remember I said you can play whatever sequence of chords that you want from the chord family. We did just that. We took some chords and we put them in specific sequences, and then we created a song from there. And based on our chord progression, we that gives us our chord progression. And based on the chord progression, we took notes from the scale and played notes from the scale, our chord progression, and it sounded good, and everyone was happy. Any questions on this first part of the mid-course goals?
So I don't know if you can kind of remember this, but Joe Pringle asked, what about Fly Me to the Moon? Is it in the key of C because C is the only major chord?
Not necessarily. There are other major chords in there. If you disregard, see, I think people are getting confused and tricked by the extensions.
Yeah.
Because there's an F major 7 in there. If you take out the you take out the major 7, you got the F. You know, you got that G7 in there. Take out that 7, you got G.
Just
C,
disregard.
F, G. Yeah, disregard the
extra stuff.
Just take all
and
that.
Look at those chords.
Be all good.
Does it have also some weird transition chords?
Yes. Yes, they do have weird transition chords in there, but yeah, if you just disregard all the extra fluff, you should be able to get the key from there.
Yeah, and I think people will be like, oh, but which chord do I know is the main chord, and which do I know is the extra chord, right? But that's where it's like, if you try to play, a C scale over it, it should sound good. And then if you try to play any other scales, it's like, not quite there.
Right,
just
like from the opening line, you know, like that. Fly me to the moon, D minor, and let me play G amongst the stars. Okay, so you have that C and you have that G. So there's like 2 chords that you already have in that D minor. Okay, if I was in the key of G, there's no D minor in the key of G. And automatically I'd be like, oh, I must be in the key of C, because C and G, those 2 major chords, have that D minor in there in the key of C. Right? So if we, you know, just for those of you folks who are, you know, who are confused, if I were to take a G chord family, we have G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Our minors are 2, 3, 6, right? So G, A, that's not it. So 2, 3, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, B minor. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That'd be E minor. No D minor in there, not in the key of G. So that leads me to believe that is in the key of C. So it's just those process of elimination stuff, and it really helps.
So the answer to his question is yes, it is in the key of C, but not because it's the only major chord.
Yeah, no, not because it's the only major chord.
Yeah.
You have to consider all the chords, all the chords in there.
Devin, so like I think earlier, Devin said that it's a little bit hard to memorize everything. But
it is, you know, but the more you do it, the better you'll get. And I would suggest you just kind of you take the songs that you already know now. Okay, take the songs you already know now. Like that's why I used Island Style as a, you know, as an example, because everyone knows Island Style. Everyone knows Drop Baby Drop. Everyone knows like what is that Eric Clapton song that we play? Wonderful Tonight. Everyone knows all those songs. So what you can do to get better at this stuff, you can take those songs and analyze those, because you're already familiar with them. It's not like you're learning anything new other than breaking down the song. Okay, you already know the chords. You already know the strumming pattern. For those of you, just take a look at those and then figure out what key they're in. So in Wonderful Tonight, we have G, B minor 7, C, and D, or A minor and D. So just based on those chords that that I just gave you, we're in the key of G, because G. Then we have C, D, which is 4, 5. Those are close together. Must be in the key of G. You'll get better the more you do it.
Yeah, I think like that's the circle of fifths. We'll just like for now.
Yeah. If you want to cheat, just do it that way.
Yeah.
And even you just write out all the chords in the song, and then you look at the circle of fifths until it like matches. These are the chords that I use.
Yeah, so the more you do it, even if you just if you're at Ukulele Club, for example, and you guys play those same songs over and over again, just take a look at what chords you're playing. And then just think about it. What key is this in?
Yeah.
I think it's
in
the
key
of F.
Notice the songs that use the same chords.
Yes.
And then you'll figure out patterns, you'll get used to the switches.
I think like that's where like you grow, is like you don't actually memorize everything, right? Yeah. Because like that
you do it by doing.
Well, like and there is like some musicians who can be like, they can just sprout out like every single key, every single idea and everything, right? But like I think most musicians will just remember patterns, and it becomes like more about, we're playing 1 4 5 in this, because like
this key. Or the shapes, the chord shapes, and
like,
then
I wouldn't necessarily know what the chord is called, but I could play it because I know like the shapes, and
the
numbers and stuff.
Right. And You know, that's the easiest way to do it. It's not easy. The easiest way to do it is to just like keep it in mind when you're doing stuff anyway. When you're having a jam with your friends, when you're having a jam at like ukulele jam. If you go to San Francisco, there's like the Ukulele and Cynthia Lynn uke jam. You go there, you're like, oh, there's all these songs that they do. These are the chords that we're playing. What key are they in? And you can figure that out.
Usually C.
usually C or G.
Or G.
They sometimes do G, but pretty much always C. Anyway, so that's what we did. So we took all of this knowledge, and just from that knowledge, we learned how to create a song. Okay. Any questions?
Nothing from the R chat, but is there any YouTube questions or?
Not really. Just comments that the harmony that you were playing sounds like the Rugrats theme song.
Oh.
Yeah,
like that. That's like that is like the first thing you learn about harmonies. I think most people go like, "Oh, I can play Rugrats now." I remember like hearing that a lot in like piano.
Yeah, when I play piano, like the two fingers.
Yep.
On the piano, it's perfect because it's like the exact same spacing.
Yeah, spaces. Oh, piano players, got it easy, huh? All right. So our course goals for the second part of Ukulele 102. First off is to create a song with advanced picking and melody. So we went over how to take those scales, how to take the like the chord families and the keys and stuff, and we made simple things. The second part of Ukulele 102, we took some more intricate techniques and we added it in there, and we kind of took a look at things more like a musician. All right, a musician, a kind of just jammer versus a musician, there are some differences. One of them is phrasing. We went over phrasing. I think just recently, in the past 2-3 weeks, we went over phrasing. What phrasing is to be like aware of how loud you are, like, and how long you're playing each notes. So a jammer would just kind of just jam away, and there's nothing wrong with it. I'm not saying that jammers like are not not good at playing ukulele. Jammers are great. I love to jam. I myself am a jammer, all right? But when it's time to go to musician mode, then it's time for me to consider my my dynamics. Am I in piano? Am I in mezzo forte? Am I in forte? Am I in fortissimo? I have to kind of think about all those things. Am I playing staccato? Or am I playing legato? Those notes long? Am I playing them short? Am I playing them loud? Am I playing them soft? All these things matter, and that's kind of like a musician's approach to writing music. So not only are we adding those phrases in the song that we did, but we're also adding new techniques like bends. Okay, we are also adding just like when I did the staccato, you are also adding some mutes. So palm mutes. And we're also adding some left hand mutes. So my left hand mutes, my parallel octaves, that's one of the left hand mutes. Or you can do that kind of dirty style of playing. Okay, so by adding those things in there, we can create a more advanced picking and melody with that song. All right, and from there we can tackle any song on the song lessons list. Because honestly, folks, go check out Ukulele Underground's song lessons. We have a new song every month for the past 10 years. We have 120 songs all queued up and ready to go for you folks to learn. And all of those pretty much follow the same guidelines that we did here. We show you, we show you the chords which will fit in the chord families. We'll show you a picking which will fit in the in this scale, and we will show you, strumming patterns, which, it's part of that advanced kind of creation of a song. Okay, so everything kind of fits. When you tackle a song, you're gonna get, you're gonna run into to pickings. So you now know how to pick. You know how to mute. So you know how to do all these things, and to bend. You know how to tremolo, and you're pretty much prepared for anything that comes at you in those lessons. Okay, maybe you might have some hard time with some new chord shapes, perhaps, and maybe if the picking pattern might be too fast, but it's not impossible, is what I'm trying to say. So you can tackle. I'm not saying you can play, like any song or whatever. You can tackle any song on the song lessons list. So it's a very important word there. You can attempt to do a song, and it won't be totally out of your league. Okay, any song on the monthly lessons list, you can totally tackle, and it should be okay. Everything that we've taught you on Ukulele 101 and Ukulele 102, you can use all those knowledge and techniques to play any song on the Ukulele Underground song list.
And you can sort on the website. You can sort by difficulty and by key. So you can, if you're just working on the key of G, just sort by key of G, and you'll find all the lessons that we did in the key of G. And then you'll also notice that they use all the same chords.
Yeah. So if you want to get better at this, the scale stuff and keys and whatnot, that's a great way of doing it. Practice songs on the same key, and you're gonna notice all those patterns. Okay, next up is to be able to improvise solos from scratch if given some chords. So not only can you tackle any songs on the song lessons list, but here's something that I want to suggest to you folks. Now, when we do these play-alongs, okay, you can do lots of cool stuff with the play-alongs. You can either take it at face value and play along, so just play the the chords to what we show you on the play-along videos. And you can learn how to do the picking, and you can pick along to the play-along videos. That's another thing that you can do. You can strum and pick. But one hidden thing that you can do with the play-along videos is you can improvise over those play-along videos. Here's my phone right now. Okay, so I'm going to pull up one of our Ukulele Underground videos, and I'm going to just take that and improvise with it. So I'm going to take it out here, Ukulele Underground. So, for example, I'm gonna play our latest song, "Last Christmas," that we put up here. Crispy strips! Ad from YouTube. Here we go.
Don't we have to
hashtag
not ad?
Hashtag not ad. Not ad. There we go. So it's the key of D. So here's the basic chords. Then B minor. Then E minor. A. But see what happens here is I can just let that song play and just jam on D. You can kind of see what where I'm going with that. You can take the play along videos, and not only can you play along, but you can also be an improv. So you can practice your improvs to the play along videos that we have. So
although that is disregarding our improv kind of guidelines that.
No,
or,
well, no, you can use it. Oh, that I was just showing, showing that you can. But take the improv guidelines. So that's a great point. Take the improv guidelines.
You don't want to be so like if this is a live situation, you don't want to be soloing over
her singing. Okay, over her singing. I was just kind of showing you that you can, you can improvise on those chords. But great point. So because we have guidelines on improv, right? Where I would pick would be after her phrases. So listen to her phrases. So after picking. So she's gonna sing, right? So that shy right there, I could actually play something because there's a small little break. Shy. Then the next, it's a very, very, very tiny window. But here we go. Let's see. Oh, too soon. Here we go. Something as simple as that. Maybe I could have done another one in there. See these little pockets? You can do that. So something like that, you can totally improvise on the play-alongs. But yeah, good point. I was just kind of showing that you can, you can just play the D scale on top of that. Yeah.
But I think like if there's ever a time to do that, like to just go off and to just that might be the best time because you're not
being rude to anybody.
It's not like
it's not a live situation.
Like somebody's gonna be like, why did you step all over me? Singing the song.
I practiced this at home. I practiced stepping over you at home. I'm gonna do it.
And I think that's where you can like just know, and you can kind of see like, oh, this is where I can go, and then it's just know that like, oh, in a live setting I probably wouldn't do this, but
so I mean my whole point about doing the doing this course review is to kind of show you guys that everything that we've learned in this course directly goes with what we do, and not just if we're playing really intricate songs, but in just jams in general. That's like a 4-chord song, and I learned how to improvise to that 4-chord song. It goes, you can use all the knowledge you learned on the Ukulele 102 course to just add all those things in there, and just to add different layers to your songs. Not everyone has to just chalang-a-lang all the time. You can make it a little bit more musical. And nothing wrong with chalang-a-lang. I feel like I have to say nothing wrong with chalang-a-lang, but if you want to step it up a little bit, take the stuff that you learned from Ukulele 102 and sprinkle on some fairy dust.
So there was a question in the chat. Trent asked, how do you know where to add a bend? Like he's been kind of adding bends, but they don't, maybe it's in the wrong place. He's not too sure.
Well, bends, I feel like, for them to be effective, you have to have a, that pockets that I was talking about. There's that short amount of time, short amount of pockets. I usually like to do them 1 and 2. So what that means is the first and the second note of the scale. So I would play, so that's why I bent this. So I'm in the key of D. So this would be 1, this would be 2. I would bend 2 because I know I always have that 1 as a crutch to land on. Okay, you could do that and then go from there and do everything else, but pretty much you can use that to the 1. That's the most basic use of bends. And notice that I bend this, same thing. This 2, this same note as that. I don't know, my ukulele is acting up today.
So the second note of the scale is pretty bendable compared to the rest.
Compared to the rest, that's the most bendable, most bendable notes in the scale. So just start from there, and then experiment with the rest of the notes, because you can bend any note that you want, but the most easiest one to manipulate would be 2.
And I think like if he's asking about like timing, or like asking about like how do you get it to sound good in a song, like being used, I know like something that I think about is just like, oh, if I try and make it sound like
Yeah.
somebody singing, or like try and make it sound like the singer,
Yeah,
where-
yeah, yeah. You can bend it to have that kind of slurring,
Yeah, and
Like,
it sounds, because like if you're trying to replicate the melody, or if you're trying to replicate the singer, it'll naturally fit in the song, or it should naturally fit,
Yeah.
So like I think that's just like an easy way to just think about it. Is like, instead of thinking about like, oh, I gotta bend now, or I gotta do this.
yeah,
it's just
yeah,
like,
yeah. Just let it flow.
yeah, like you can think of like a melody in your head, right, and be
Yeah.
like, oh, I kind of like how that sounded, and
Yeah.
I want to do that. So
And then in that case where you're bending the second note of the
Yeah.
scale and then landing back on
Back
the
on the one,
it makes sense to do it on the beat just before the
The one,
chord
yeah,
change, right?
yeah.
Back to the one.
Yeah.
So if you're
So like 4 and 1.
Yeah,
Like,
so-
so it's kind of boom, boom, like. So if you're thinking like the beats and stuff,
Yeah.
so 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1, 2. So 2, 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1, 2. Like, if you just think about the timing that way, it's fine. And
Yeah.
you can also think about different phrases, like that is basically just a fancy version of that. So just think of it that way. You're going from you're going from 3, 2, 1. So instead of going 3, 2, 1, you can do. It's like a more stylistic choice of playing that. All right. So improvising, super fun, and you can use our videos, and you can tackle any of the videos now. Not only can you improvise those, but you can play the actual picking that we showed you. So that one right there. Last Christmas uses palm mutes. We taught you palm mutes, in one of the latter weeks of Ukulele 102. So you can go ahead and go tackle that. D, B minor 7, G, A. You got all those chords down. You know how to chunk. You know how to do, I don't know if it has rolls or not, but all good. You can tackle any song. I don't know what would you guys consider the hardest song that we have on Ukulele Underground? That's a good question. Yeah, I've never thought about that. There's some pretty difficult songs. What is the okay? Kahai gets
Kahai
all
was
the
just talking about classical gas.
Ooh,
the
I
other
hate
day.
classical gas. I'm sorry. No,
That's
I
a
don't-
pretty tough one.
yeah.
I don't hate classical gas, but I just tabbed it out. And
Yeah.
that song does not make sense.
Yeah, well, let's go blame Tommy Emmanuel.
No, it's Mason.
Oh,
Williams.
yeah, so
Mason
Mason,
Williams,
yeah.
Well, Tommy Emmanuel kind of popularized.
But if you were to take classical gas, if you were to kind of break it down, it's just that finger picking pattern that we showed you. So we've gone over finger picking, I think, in Ukulele 101. If not 101, then early 102. And then we have that D minor chord shape, A minor chord shape, like G7, that minor 7 chord shapes. Everything pretty much makes sense. If you just break it down into parts, it's not as intimidating. The thing as a whole is intimidating, but if you break it down, and if you go back to what we taught you on Ukulele 1 and 102, everything should still make sense, and it should still be within your grasp.
That song, when people watch you play it,
Yeah.
it looks intimidating because you add ghost notes and you do a lot of
Yeah.
strums and stuff.
Yeah.
But then if you're trying to learn it, you can narrow it down to just the melody line, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Which is just a da na na na.
Da 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 da
Yeah.
da 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 da. Yeah.
Even for tabbing me out, or when I was tabbing it out,
Yeah.
that helped with I knew oh, these are the important parts that I want to make sure are in the tab, and then these other things, they're cool, but they're not necessarily, it's not something that you need to play.
Yeah.
These are the parts that you should focus on.
Yeah, so everything is pretty much attainable. All the songs that we have on Ukulele Underground is pretty much attainable. Not saying that you can just go tackle Kale's "Kiss from a Rose" or something and then be able to play it. Anything that we have on Ukulele Underground is pretty much falls on on that level of beginner, intermediate, advanced, intermediate advanced, not advanced, but intermediate advanced, kind of on that cusp of advanced. And advanced, for me, the definition would just be either speed of the song, how much ghost notes is in there, the level of musicianship. That means your phrasing and whatnot, and and the way that you attack the strings and your tone. So that's like what defines an advanced player. So an advanced player will take a look at a piece of music as a musician. But if you want to just jam songs, you can just be a jammer. Nothing wrong with being a jammer.
Well, I think that's where if you look at the solos on our site,
yeah,
it's not necessarily something that you can I guess you could try to improvise over.
Yeah.
But there's already a lot of picking.
Yeah,
so
there's a lot of stuff going on.
It might sound too muddled. But then you can take one of the beginner songs and be like, oh, I can improvise all over this place.
Yeah, so, just being a jammer can take you all the way up to an intermediate advanced level, all right? You don't have to be that, full-on advanced guy who, who will take a piece of music like Bohemian Rhapsody and make it for the ukulele. But if that's, if that's your goal, totally we can help you out with that as well. But for now, because this is Ukulele 102, just on these 2 courses alone, it'll kind of teach you everything you need to learn in order to tackle all 120 songs so far that we have here on Ukulele Underground. More to go. We want another 120. Let's do another 120.
And I think there's different levels of learning the song itself, right? You can just look at our lessons and try to figure out the key by yourself and try to do all that. But if you're having a hard time, we actually do list the key in the songs themselves, so you can always double check or
right. And for those of you folks who have not even visited our site, because I know there's a lot of people who think that Ukulele Underground is just the YouTube videos that we do here on YouTube. But I want to tell you guys that Ukulele Underground, when you go to ukuleleunderground.com, we have so much content in there. It is ridiculous. We are really super dedicated to helping you achieve whatever level that you want to achieve. You want to be that advanced player, we can help you be that. If you want to be the just an intermediate advanced, we have courses like this to help you get to where you need to be. Okay, and with our videos online, those are just our play along videos, or maybe those are just our webcam sessions, or maybe what else do we have on YouTube? There are previews, but those are just you're barely scratching the surface of all the content over at Ukulele Underground. So do yourself a favor if you want to learn how to play this awesome little instrument, and check out ukuleleunderground.com, because we have lots and lots of stuff in there, and not just songs as well. We have if you like learning things this way, where we break things down for you, and we introduce some advanced concepts and music theory and whatnot, we have that on there. If you like learning from other teachers, I know we have this special relationship, you and I. But if you want to learn from other teachers, we have lots of teachers in Ukulele Underground. We have the ever so amazing Craig and Sarah. We have Bruce Shimabukuro. We have Chris Salvador. We have all these.
Neil Chin.
So good. Yeah, Neil Chin. So good. Matt Dahlberg, killing it every week with a webcam session. So, check it out. Please check it out. If you ever want to learn this awesome instrument and take it to the next level, and we don't just say that, we actually mean that. You can get to that next level that you want to get to by checking out Ukulele Underground.
I think we counted all the content and everything.
Yeah.
And I think we have over 300 hours of 300 hours plus of
content,
just videos and stuff, And so if you're looking for something,
we probably got it.
Yeah. Not saying we a lot of people ask oh, can't you do this song or do this song?
Yeah.
Maybe not every song, but we certainly have probably that genre you're looking for. Or
what about fan strokes? What about claw hammers?
Maybe not fan strokes. Never mind.
But you know what? We're working on those. We're finding the right, because I am not the right person for those. We are gonna find the right person to teach you claw hammer, fan strokes, split strokes, whatnot. Expect that 20-something year, 2018, 19, 2020 maybe. Ukulele Underground, forever evolving to help you learn how to play the ukulele. So whatever it is that you want to learn, we're always we always have our ears open. Let us know what you want to learn. Let us know what style you want to you're interested in. Let us know what if you saw something that someone did, oh, what is that? Let us know, and we'll try to help you out as as best as we can. right? And we want to make Ukulele Underground the best ukulele website, ukulele learning website that you can go to, because the guys here at the office, we work night and day to come up with all this content, and we always brainstorm like how do we how do we take all of our students that we have currently and elevate them even more than we do now. How do we take all the all the content and all the music genres and all the knowledge in the world, and how do we condense those so that people can kind of get them in nice bite-sized chunks, so that it's not overwhelming. We just want to share the gift of music to all of you folks, and that's we do that by teaching you music, so that not just so that you can learn, but also you can teach someone else as well. And that pretty much fulfills our slogan of growing the next generation of ukulele players, because you'll learn from us, someone will learn from you, someone will learn from that person, and it just spreads. All right, so Ukulele on the Ground is here to make sure that those seeds will grow.
I think we try our hardest to make good lessons and stuff, but I think it's really telling to see the people who come or who take our classes, they work really hard.
Yeah,
and it's just amazing to see that level of dedication.
Yeah, and we've seen a lot of people grow. We've had, I want to say, hundreds, maybe thousands of students over on UU Plus that have signed up, and they've just taken it to the next level. And we don't just say that. That's our thank you. So thank you guys so much for tuning in to Ukulele 102 here on Ukulele on the Ground University. And once again, we have tons and tons and tons of content over at ukuleleunderground.com. And not only do we have video content, but we have a lot of interactive content just like this. So we are live right now. That's how we can take your questions. So we have live shows, we have live streams, we have one-on-one coaching sessions. So if you need some personal help, I personally can come and log on and help you get unstuck. A lot of people have tried it already, and sometimes we get results almost instantly. It's like, I've been having a hard time with this thing for weeks or months even, and a simple simple quick fix will help a person out sometimes. Even if they've been having that problems for months, I can kind of just tell them oh, maybe if you just shift this or shift that, and we've seen some improvements that fast. So really cool. Please take advantage of that, and please check out ukuleleunderground.com and sign up for UU Plus if you want to take your ukulele playing to the next level.
Yeah, in fact, because we're gonna do one-on-one coaching right after this. And so Trent in the chat, he said he's gonna jump on that just to ask you more about that bending question.
Oh yeah, okay, so. Please, exactly that. So if you have those, and it's great because what happens is Trent goes on and he shows me exactly what he's doing, and I can kind of show him what he can do from there.
We've helped, or you've helped a lot of people who have
You've helped.
I don't usually know. You've helped a lot of people who say, oh, I'm having a hard time doing the chunks or B flat, and these are all common things that we see. Yeah. But it's kind of something that it is if we can see exactly what you're doing, we can pinpoint it and nail those problems or help you overcome them. So I think that's where it's a lot of people have the same problems, but we can definitely help you get over them, and we'll try our best.
We'll try our best. I mean, if not, then we'll point you to things that you can practice to perhaps maybe get unstuck, or to point you in the right direction. So if we can't tackle it directly, we'll figure out different ways to make it better. All right. So on behalf of everyone here at Ukulele on the Ground, big mahalo. So thank you so much for checking out Ukulele on the Ground University, and I'll see you folks next time. Have a great one. Stay tuned for one-on-one sessions. Tomorrow we have Aloha Friday live jams. Okay. Yes.
Oh, somebody else asked what are we gonna do on Thursdays since 102 is over?
So, what are we gonna do, Aaron? Well, you had an idea. Yeah.
Oh, we're probably going to go back to doing Thursday live lessons.
Thursday live lessons, and we're going to turn them into podcasts. So Thursday live lessons become podcasts. You can, as UU Plus members, you could probably download the audio version of it, right? But if you want to...
Well, I mean, for Thursday live, if you want to see the video, just tune into UU Plus, and then for everybody else, we'll just release the audio
as a podcast. Nice. So we're gonna do things a little bit differently for 2018. You know, like I said, we're constantly evolving. It's been 10 years, and I don't even recognize the site that we started with. So it's an ever evolving site. Please check out ukuleunderground.com. On behalf of myself, Aaron Nakamura, Kai Fergan, mahalo and aloha.